Douglas, I want to bring you back
That's
to
the stem
the other
back
raging story of the week is, of course, Rwanda. I'm interested in your take, Douglas, on what you think about it. It seems to me this is a completely doomed policy, that whether you agree with the principle behind it, it's just not going to happen.
Well, that's possible that it won't happen. I support the policy. I support us having borders. I support stopping and dissuading people from engaging in illegal migration into the country. And nobody who's criticised the Rwanda policy has yet come up with a better policy of what to do to stop the illegal migration at the south coast. But you're right, Piers, it may well not happen. Of course, the first plane didn't end up taking off this week. And why? Because of the ECHR. And I think, by the way, I wrote this last week in The Sun. I said that, and I've said many times in the last few years, there was always going to come a day when the British people realised that we had left the customs union and other aspects of the EU, but we remained under the jurisdiction of European law. Now, the ECHR and the European Court that enforces it was the mechanism by which various people made sure that the plane couldn't leave to Rwanda this week. The British courts approved it, but the various activist lawyers and trade unions and others went to use the ECHR, and that was why the flight was blocked. So here's the thing, I think, Pierre. This is a massive political car crash that's been waiting to happen for a long time. The government did not bother to address the issue of the ECHR in recent years, and now the British public are getting to see something that should have been completely predictable, which was that we have remained and do remain still under the jurisdiction of elements of European law.
Yeah.
And that is not why we left the EU. We did not land, of course, at this point all the smart asses say, oh, well, the ECHR is different from the EU. That's true. But nevertheless, the idea of Brexit was we get back control of our borders, of our sovereignty and the right to make our own laws.
You know, my problem with Brexit...
As was shown this week, we don't have that.
Douglas, my problem with Brexit, and I voted Remain, but then I also voted for Boris Johnson at the election because he was the only leader prepared to deliver the result of the referendum. And I believe that democracy and honouring democratic votes was more important than my personal feelings. I've got to say, though, I tweeted this yesterday to a huge response. At some stage, we are going to have to start seeing some benefits from Brexit.
Yeah, sure.
And if we don't, you know, the jungle drums beating to try and maybe overturn it with future governments, they're going to get louder. Because right now, it's very hard to point to anything and say, well, look, Brexit's working.